Star Wars Headquarters, your #1 source for everything Star Wars. Subscribe today on YouTube and visit us at StarWarsHQ.com.
Hey, let's go!
You made it.
Hello my fellow Star Wars fans, what's up? It's Robbie with Star Wars HQ, and today we're talking about several things. So I'm going to immediately tell you to use the video guide in the description below to skip ahead to the info you seek, but we're talking about customization, star cards, power-ups, and my first impressions of the co-op, because yes, I have gotten the chance to actually try the missions mode in Star Wars Battlefront. More specifically, survival, and guess what else I got to try? Tatooine. I'm going to give details about that map and its design for the missions modes. So star cards are actually really cool. Now, I'm going to be making a ton of comparisons in this video to another game, and that game is Titanfall. Remember Titanfall's burn cards? Well, star cards are sort of similar in Star Wars Battlefront, except that they are going to be things like sniper rifles, bubble shields, grenades, mortar strikes, and even that awesome badass jetpack that you saw in the gameplay reveal. Now, how do you obtain these things? So you level up in the game as you would any other game, killing players, capturing outposts, that sort of thing, and then you can turn around and spend that currency on new star cards. So you have a total of 3 slots at your disposal. That means you can go wild, create your own class. For example, you could team up the bubble shield with the sniper rifle, hit people from long distance, protect yourself with the bubble shield as you would take cover, which would be a really cool tactic actually. But you know, my biggest question is, will you be able to upgrade these star cards to be able to stack them? Like, could you stack 2 type of grenade cards? That has not been confirmed or anything like that, but it's going to be interesting to see how they handle these. But they really do remind me a lot of Titanfall. And then of course you have your lower slot, which is reserved for your power-ups. These are going to be your vehicles, your Jedi and Sith characters, and then of course things like the rocket launchers and stuff like that. Now, it appears weapons and gadgets are going to be randomized. So when you go up to a power-up that's like a Rebel logo or an Empire logo, whatever team you're on, and you go over it and you collect it, it's going to be a random pickup. Now, for vehicles and stuff like that, it's actually not going to be random. You're going to be able to see, oh, I'm going to get an ATST. Jedi and Sith are also random, I believe. I'm not too sure. But my only concern about power-ups is this. With the vehicles, since you know where they are in the world, I imagine people would be camping these power-ups. Let me know what you guys think about that. I do think that is sort of a concern. I think it's going to be a tactic that people use. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the final build. But yes, all of this carries over into co-op. So, co-op, I got to play that on Tatooine, which was awesome. I'll tell you more about the map in just a moment, but we're going to start out with co-op. So co-op is 15 waves. You have to survive 15 waves. That is your ultimate goal. What's really nice about it is that there are difficulty settings, and yes, you can try it on your own, but I highly recommend getting another buddy in there using that buddy system. And apparently you can share star cards and stuff like that with your buddy, so that's going to be a ton of fun. So enemies like Stormtroopers, Shock Troopers, Scout Troopers, and even Shadow Troopers with optical camouflage will be on the battlefield. Yes, they turn invisible, so you have to be very aware when you are fighting them. So every few waves also you will have to contest with an ATST or a bigger threat in that manner. Yes, there's even TIE fighters and that sort of thing. So that means you're going to want to get to the drop pods. They're going to say, oh, there's a drop pod on the map. It's got random power-ups, maybe a rocket launcher or something like that, and extra lives. So you're definitely going to want to head there. But be warned, these are usually heavily contested. And if you want more of a meta experience in your Battlefront, there will be specific challenges tied to certain things that you do. So surviving an X amount of rounds will, you know, complete a challenge. You get more XP by doing that, not spending a life during the 15 waves, that sort of thing will persist in co-op. But on to my personal experience on Tatooine. So I load up the map. I'm so excited. I'm playing on the Xbox One, as I recall. I'm playing with another guy. I just met him, and he is brand new to the game, which was hilarious. I was guiding him through the game, and he was having an absolute blast, by the way. Now, we were playing split screen on one monitor, which means the game was running at 30 frames per second. This was sort of noticeable because I just got done playing Walker Assault at the PlayStation booth. So when you get into split screen, just be warned that it will be running at 30 frames per second. So we start playing. I notice I have a bubble shield. Now this bubble shield is one of my favorite things to use in co-op. The only downside to it is you cannot shoot from it, so you are basically handicapped in that manner and really have to work with your buddy as you play. But I used it like this. I actually ended up getting hit in wave 4 or 5. My friend here had died, and I managed to survive a little bit longer by using that bubble shield and retreating behind cover. It absolutely saved my life. And by the way, a lot of these bubble shields can be used to protect yourself against orbital strikes. So as you would expect, round by round it got more and more difficult. There were snipers coming around corners, there were shock troopers coming after me, and eventually an ATST. Now, we managed to get a power-up for that, which was a rocket launcher, and I hit the ATST and I showed my friend here how to take down the ATST, and he was just like, oh my god, when it exploded. It was hilarious. I'm telling you guys, when you see the explosion for the first time in front of your face, you're experiencing it yourself. It is mind-blowing, but it was hilarious to see his reaction when he actually destroyed that thing. So we did that, and we were using jetpacks at the same time. That was awesome to use. And, you know, really, the actual map for Tatooine really did, in my opinion, require the use of jetpacks. You gotta move from these crevices to the upper high points to really get a perspective of what is going on. It sort of reminds me of Halo. You really want to take the high ground in Star Wars Battlefront, I'm noticing. I'm like, wow, this reminds me of Halo gameplay style for some reason, which I love Halo. That's fantastic about Halo. But the actual map design is like, how would I describe it? You're in a canyon. It sort of looks like a scaled down version of the Grand Canyon. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's very tight combat, close quarters combat. You don't use any vehicles in this particular map. So you guys that are fans of close quarters combat will really enjoy this. But there's these areas where you could really peek over. You can get up there with your jetpack, or you could go around these winding cliffs and get up there and then fire down on the enemy with your sniper rifle or whatever you have. But you really have to be careful when playing this map because you can get into so many bad situations by not taking the high ground. I mean, enemies, they can come from everywhere. In my experience for co-op was that it was extremely positive, but I do imagine myself spending more time in the other game modes like Walker Assault and the PvP, and then dabbling in co-op whenever I can. There's a ton more mission types, which is really good news. They're gonna need the other mission types to really keep people coming back to the co-op. I'm so curious to see what these other mission types are. I'm hoping they involve vehicles. That would be a ton of fun. But again, the map design was definitely CQC. No vehicles. You can really take advantage of those high points, and it was like you were in a glass canyon. That's how I would describe it. There were sharp edges everywhere. It was really cool. But guys, stay tuned for more coverage of Star Wars Battlefront right here at Star Wars HQ. There's a ton of other game modes that have yet to be shown. I cannot wait to see those. We've heard of Supremacy. That sounds like something big. Cannot wait to see it. But guys, thank you again for all of your support, and stay tuned. We're going to have more from Battlefront, and may the Force be with you always.
Star Wars Headquarters, your #1 source for everything Star Wars. Subscribe today on YouTube and visit us at StarWarsHQ.com.